Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Santiago Canyon Road Safety Improvement Project. We're going to start in about 1 or 2 minutes just to give folks some extra time to sign in for those folks who might be running late. So we'll get started in 1 or 2 minutes. Thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone. Again, welcome to the Santiago Canyon Road Safety Improvement Project, our virtual community meeting tonight. My name is Shannon Weedor. I'm with Orange County Public Works. So I want to thank you for being here and listening tonight. We'll give an overview of the project. We'll give some time for you out in the community to share some comments and share some questions, because part of it is hearing from you. And part of the purpose of tonight, we're looking to start construction on this great project next month, and now is an opportunity just to provide some high-level information and what you can expect out in the community. So we'll go through a presentation tonight. Here's a look at our presenters tonight. Again, I'm Shannon Weedor, Communications for Orange County Public Works. Also here is Sam Tu of our Project Management Group and Janine Castiello of our Construction Management Group. So here's some guidelines for tonight. We'll be going through some various slides with some images and maps, giving a high-level overview of the project. And then, so everyone's aware, those who have called in and viewing the presentation, your lines are muted, but don't worry, we will have a question and answer period near the end of this presentation. And then at that time, we will call on individuals one at a time, so we have more of a controlled setting and folks aren't speaking over each other. If we see someone who's raised a hand to ask a question or provide comments, we'll call on one individual at a time, and we will unmute that person at that time. So as of now, just out of respect for everyone, and so to avoid disruptions and speaking over each other, everyone is muted at this time. So here's today's agenda. Here's what you will see and hear. We'll go through what the project's all about, the purpose and need, and also the process and the anticipated timeline through the construction. We'll talk about some key project information, some of these safety measures that you'll see being implemented out there on Santiago Canyon Road. And again, we'll open it up to a question and answer session, because part of this is hearing from you in the community. And at this time, I want to introduce a very special guest we have with the Supervisor of the 3rd District, Donald Wagner.
All right. Well, thank you, Shannon, and thank you all that are attending. It's a brave new world with these remote meetings, but I did want to make sure I had a chance to stop by, thank everybody for coming out, and thank the team that's here with us in the administration office for their hard work in putting together not just this presentation today, but indeed the entire proposal that you're going to hear and have an opportunity to ask questions about. It's important to me as the representative here for county government for the Canyon areas to make sure we do in fact get an opportunity to have your input, your feedback. Not long after I took office, we had a horrific motorcycle crash out there. I am not going to tell you that we are going to be able to stop all tragedies out there, but I am going to tell you with your input and with the expertise that we've got in this room, we have a real opportunity here to make substantial improvements to protect you, protect your loved ones, protect the public that is visiting our wonderful Canyon areas. And so I am happy to be here to kick this off, to welcome you, to thank the team that we have here at the administration building, and to say, make sure you hold your questions until the end and then let them have them. Let them hear, let all of us hear collectively from you how we make your homes, your neighborhoods that much better. So again, appreciate you being here, appreciate in these trying times that you're joining us remotely, that you're joining us electronically, but it's important that you're joining us. And so thank you very much for that. I'm going to turn it back over to Shannon unless there's anything the team here has specifically for me. You folks are in really good hands with a really talented team that has a great opportunity collectively to make your homes and your neighborhoods just that much better. So thank you all.
Okay, Supervisor Wagner, thank you very much for that. We're going to go ahead and continue through the presentation. So, an important part for those out in the community listening or watching online, how do I ask a question? How can I provide comment near the end of this presentation? Very important. There are two ways. One is to raise your hand, virtually that is. Depending on the platform you signed in, whether the WebEx app or another browser on your computer, you might see two different options. One, you may see the three dots in the small black circle near the bottom of your screen. Click on that, and you will see a raised hand option. So when we get to the Q&A part, you can click there, click raise hand, and that'll signify to us that someone wants to ask a question. That's one way. If you signed in via another way, such as on your internet browser, not the WebEx app, you can click open the participants box, and you should see a very small hand in the bottom right corner. Look for that hand. If you have a question or want to provide comments, click on that hand. And again, we will see that you raised your hand, and during the Q&A, we will call on you individually at that time. We'll unmute your line so you can provide comments or ask a question. So again, two ways if you're viewing the presentation. Click the three dots or click on the small hand icon, depending on which one you see, on how you signed in. If you only called in via phone and you're listening, you can dial *3. That will do the same thing. In effect, it will raise the hand to us, and we will call on your phone number at that time. We'll have the slide available up on the screen when we get to the question and answer period towards the end of this presentation as well, so a reminder for you. Here's a quick look at the improvement project area. Many of you, if not all of you, joining us tonight are very familiar with Santiago Canyon Road. It's basically the entire 11-mile span going from SR 241 down south to Live Oak Canyon Road. That consumes our whole project area. Moving forward, why is this project needed? Here's the what and why. Obviously, there are a number of accidents periodically along Santiago Canyon Road. There can be a safety concern with those accidents. Us at Orange County Public Works, part of our mission is to maintain, improve that roadway, and safety is a big element with that. So that is why we're looking at this project, to improve safety, to help enhance driver awareness, what we can do out there while still keeping it a rural scenic roadway for you folks. What can we do that's feasible to make it safer and reduce the likelihood of vehicle accidents? That's the purpose of connecting with you tonight. We're going to inform you, provide you this project information, and again, part of this tonight is hearing from you. It's equally important to us. We want to hear your questions, hear your comments. The design for this project is finalized. Again, we're looking to start construction next month, and we'll get into that later in the presentation. But when it comes to the construction phase, we do want to hear if you have any concerns or questions to help ease your mind through this process. Here's just a little bit of history looking back. So this is not the first time we've been out in the Santiago Silverado community. So as you see, like in 2016, 17, 18, we have been out there a few times providing high-level information at that time as we were working through the design of this project, analyzing traffic data, talking with folks out in the community, hearing your feedback, what safety measures you think would work, what you would not like to see. We've taken that feedback and we've compiled it into the final design of what you'll see, and we'll touch on those elements tonight. But these are times that we did go out into the community over the past few years. Now here's a look at our timeline.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sam Teal. Thanks for introducing the project, Shannon. With this slide, I'm going to give a little brief history and a timeline of what to expect throughout the project cycle. The project essentially started in 2015 under the programming phase. In this phase, we determined the feasibility, if it's constructible for this project, and we're also applied for federal funding for this project. Around 2018, we did receive some federal funding to support this project, and that kicked off the design phase. In the design phase, we are preparing the plans and specifications, and the intent of these plans and specifications is to give guidance and instructions to the contractor to build this project. We're able to finish these plans and specifications around 2019, and that allows us to advertise the project to solicit a potential construction contractor. We're able to secure a contractor around June 2019, and in August 2020, we will start the construction process, and we're anticipating the construction is going to end around June 2021. Next slide, please. So some of the safety measures that we'll be implementing in this project involves upgrading guardrails and constructing reflectors on the guardrails. Another safety feature is the rumble strips, and the intention of this rumble strip is to provide alertness to the driver in the event they steer away from their lane. Next slide, please. Other safety features involve upgrading caution signs. We will be striping a buffer zone for the bicycle safety. Next slide. but the main feature of this project is the high friction surface treatment. And the intention of this high friction surface treatment is to help minimize any potential skidding off the roadway. This application is a thin layer application that's being applied to the existing roadway. Mainly it's going to be installed at the curvatures of Santiago Canyon Road. It does not encourage any faster speed. It's effective in all weather conditions. And if you were driving on a typical roadway versus a roadway that has a high friction surface treatment, you won't hear any difference in terms of noise level. But if you want to experience this high friction surface treatment yourself, feel free to drive on Live Oak Canyon Road. We applied this layer on that road back in 2018. Next slide, please. So here's an aerial overview of the west side of Santiago Canyon Road. It shows you where the high friction surface treatment is being installed along with the rumble strips. It's highlighted in red. And the blue is the locations of the guardrail. Next slide, please. And this is a similar aerial overview, but on the east side of Santiago Canyon Road. Same features. The red highlights where the high friction surface treatment is located, along with the rumble strip. And blue is the guardrails. And with that, I'll hand it off to Janine to talk about the construction activities on the next slide.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Janine Castiello, and I'm with Construction Management. And one of the key components of construction is traffic control. And the purpose of the traffic control is to keep everybody safe. We want to keep the public safe. We want to keep the contractors safe in their work area. One of the things that they'll be implementing out there during the traffic control is lane closures. The lane closures would only close one lane and would allow just a brief delay for the traffic to pass on one side and then reverse and then be allowed to pass the opposite direction. There'll be flaggers out there that will have radios that will be able to communicate on both ends of the closure, and then also this accommodates for bicyclists as well. The cyclists are to adhere to the same traffic control rules as the drivers are. Our traffic enforcement, we're going to be having some CHP out there, which would help with enforcement for just the visual, as well as if anybody was to have any issues with the traffic control, we can go ahead and get with the CHP and have that taken care of. Next one. So our construction schedule, we begin next month and begin and end in June of 2021. Monday through Friday is for the work days for the contractor, and the lane closures that we have are from 8:30 to 4:30. So 8:30 a.m. would be past, is what we assume would be past the high traffic for commuting, and then on the way home, we want to have the lane closures picked up so that when you get home, heading on your way back home, you have a free ride. You may see the contractor out there from about 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., and that would just be for setup and for cleanup at the end of the day. They are sometimes subject to change. The lanes would be open on all weekends and holidays, and I believe that's okay. And the contractor that was awarded this project is American Civil Constructors. So if you see this logo out there, that is who is out there doing the work for you. So together we really need we need patience from the public, and we need consideration from our contractors. So we're hoping everybody will work together, and we'll go ahead and make this a really smooth project.
Okay, thank you, Janine. Again, this is Shannon. So here's some information. This isn't the first time we've spoken with you out in the community, and this definitely won't be the last. Obviously, this project will go on several months. We want to keep a conversation going with you. This is how you can get more information, how you can get a hold of us, ask questions and comments. So if you think of a question later tonight or tomorrow morning, or you want to talk to us during construction, if you have any concerns or questions a month from now, 2 months from now, this is how you can reach us. You can send us any questions tonight as email or call that phone line directly. And also, following this meeting tomorrow, a recording of this meeting tonight will be available on this project website. So if you have friends, family, neighbors who couldn't join us tonight, no worries. Or if you just want to simply view the meeting again, we will make a recording of this meeting available to the public on that project website. So before we get into questions, I just want to put the project maps one more time. So I know this may seem like it's going fairly quick for folks. I just want to put these up so you have a few more seconds just to see where some of those measures are located. Again, here's a map showing west of Silverado Canyon. So I'll leave this up just for a few seconds so you can see. Again, as you can see, the red is high friction surface treatment areas and rumble strips, as Sam mentioned. That surface treatment will only be on the major curves, along with the rumble strips. Blue is for guardrails. So now let's look east of Silverado Canyon once again. So I know it seems like a lot of information on the map to consume in a few seconds, but we'll leave this up for a short bit so you can see. Just like the west side, the high friction surface treatment, it's not along the entire 11 miles, but only on those significant curves. Okay. So that consumes most of the project information overview for you. Again, we want to put this slide up. We're going to get into a question, comment, and answer portion now. So again, if you joined a few minutes late, or again, you didn't have a chance to write it down or forgot, here is how you can ask questions or provide comments. Again, click on the three dots if you see them, or open up participants box, click on the small hand icon in the bottom right. Or if you just called in, you can do *3. Any of those options, we will see a virtual raised hand. We will call on, this is how it's going to work. We will call on individuals one at a time. There's no disruptions, no talking over each other, and we will unmute that person at that time. So let's go ahead and start.
Okay, the first caller, phone number 714-307. I'm going to unmute you now.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey,
We can hear you.
everyone. Hi, this is Joanne Hubble. I, for some reason, was not able to see it visually. So, question, can you spell out the address, email address and phone number for those of us that cannot see it? And I just wanted to say thanks again for reaching out to us and doing this.
Sure. Thank you, Joanne. That email address is projectinfo, projectinfo, no spaces, no periods, projectinfo at ocpw.ocgov, as in Victor.com. So projectinfo at ocpw.ocgov.com, or the phone is 714-667-9759. And for more information, to view the project website, www.ocpublicworks.com/Santiago Canyon Road. Thank you, Joanne.
Thanks, Shannon. Thanks, Shannon.
Okay, next caller, we have Vince Bartlett. Okay, you can speak.
Hello, Shannon. This is Vince Bartlett.
Evening.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for doing this virtual meeting. I can tell you that I think this is a positive outcome of how you do things, because it's much easier for me to join this kind of meeting and see the thing rather than go to, some location. So I do appreciate you having this, and hopefully it will be something that you use in the future, even after this unfortunate pandemic continues. I have one point. I noticed that you said something about the bicycle lanes. I am a bicyclist. I ride several times a week, And I ride on Santiago Canyon Road, and I also go down toward the beach using the beach trails. I also live off of Crystal Canyon Drive, which is where that one bit of bicycle strip is, where you have the right turn lane into our development, and then you have the road. And the bicyclists are supposed to thread that to continue on their way up. I can say that from a design point of view, and from a usability, I find that the most scary part of the road for bicyclists. As a bicyclist and as a rider that I have to make an instant, judgment of, do I go around the cyclist and kind of clip into my road, or do I slow down beside the cyclist going like 5 miles an hour because it's a hill? The fact that you want a bicyclist to be between two paths of traffic where people are not used to that, people are not used to having bicyclists on their left side. And, if the bicyclist makes a mistake, they could literally weave in. It would be much better during this time if you could move the paint over and just paint that over and give them the corner, the side of the road where they have for the rest of the bicycle route, and just give us a normal off ramp that's next to the other cars. It would make my life a lot safer as a driver and as a cyclist. I can tell you that I constantly end up stopping in my off ramp because the cyclists are, they're nervous, right? And the first thing is, don't hit the cyclists. So I end up going 5 miles an hour, having to do this tremendous, braking maneuver to get down, because there's this don't drink and drive sign that makes me, I get a choice of, blocking traffic or really doing a quick shutdown. And I don't expect the cyclist to not use my road, because frankly, being away from the primary traffic is safest. So I would like you guys to look into that, because it's a painting exercise, or please take that into your designs as you go further.
Oh, hi, this is Sam. Thanks, Vince, for bringing up your concerns. We will take a look into it, see what we could, how to respond to your concerns. But we're going to have to take a little deeper look into your concerns right now.
Do me a favor, and you've got a display sign, right? Behind the display sign saying, don't drink and drive, don't go fast, blah, blah, blah. Fine with the sign. Put a camera facing up that road, and you will see the number of cyclists that go into that lane for safety and the number of people that have to do machinations to get around the cyclist, versus the rest of the road, it's standard, right? So that would give you the empirical data to make a decision, not just my opinion.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. We will take a look into it.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have Bill Sullen. I'm going to unmute you. You can speak now.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Shannon and the whole crew. Thanks for putting this together. Supervisor Wagner, thanks for hanging on and listening to the comments. It's kind of different format for me. I'm frustrated that I can't see how many attendees there were. I was afraid I was the audience of one until now. But when you talked about the bike lanes being buffered, are you talking about 2 foot in addition to the standard county 8 to 10 foot bike lane? Or are you sacrificing bike lane width to put a buffer in there? How wide of a buffer? The illustration was a bit vague and generous on the buffer, and I don't know how you got room to put a 10-foot bike lane with a 2-foot buffer out there.
Yeah, the buffer ranges between 1.5 feet to 3 feet. It ranges throughout the roadway.
And we're maintaining a 6-foot bike lane. Most of the width is gonna be taken from the travel lane instead. And so we're not reducing the bike lane.
Okay, the county highway design manual calls for an 8-foot typical and 10-foot preferable bike lane width. So giving up a couple of feet for a buffer is going to be a relief. I do think that cyclists feel a little bit more, and that buffer also, I assume, is where the rumble strip is going to be ground into the buffer, not into the bike lane.
The rumble strip will be in the middle of the road at the center line.
Okay, so cars drifting into the bike lane won't get any rumble strip warning that they're going off into the track of bicyclists.
That's not part of the plan at the moment.
Gotcha. The high friction treatment, that's to the travel lane, but not the bike lane. Is that still true?
Correct.
Yes?
Correct. You're correct.
And I'm curious what the plan is. There's a couple of pinch points, specifically the bridge over Black Star Canyon or whatever that creek is called there before the Silverado exit. That's a pretty tight gap now. Is there a plan to provide either an adjacent bike lane on each side of the bridge or to expand the bridge or widen it? Or how are you going to squeeze everybody through that pinch point?
Me too.
Hi, at this time, there's no plans to widen the bridge, but we'll take a look at the striping to see if there's any accommodations we can make.
Okay. You described the project as running all the way from the toll road to Cook's Corner, basically at Live Oak, but that enters the city of, I believe that's Lake Forest at the
Correct.
south end. Are you going to be able to establish jurisdictional improvement? Because the Cook's Corner bike lane thing has always been a little bit dicey when folks park their motorcycles into the bike lane. There's been some improvement, but there's kind of a conflict of philosophy between the county's design standards and the cities. Are you guys going to be able to extend this all the way down to the corner at Cook's?
Yes, we've been working with the city of Lake Forest on this project. We've been working back and forth, and they are involved with this project. They are funding a portion of the construction, so we are working on a portion of the city of Lake Forest jurisdiction.
Great. If it's possible to extend the concern between that and the end of the county, bike trail that kind of drops off on the wrong side of the road with nothing but a shoulder to get to Cook's Corner. I'm talking about the southern portion from the end of the Aliso Creek Trail, which is a county facility, and the getting across the Cook's Corner intersection. That segment south of Cook's Corner is fairly challenged for people that are riding off the bike path in two-way direction. They're riding on the shoulder against traffic, and cars are turning right onto Live Oak rather hazardously. So we're always paying attention to seeing if we can get that improved and connected up. And at the orange end, you talked about starting at the toll road, but is there going to be any improvement to the dangerous weave and conflict patterns that Caltrans and the Toll Road Authority has put on that overpass? Because right now you got to be a very assertive cyclist to be able to take the third lane and move over across on ramps to safely get across that freeway style interchange. I assume that's outside of your project?
Correct, you are right. Just starting from the Cook's Corner portion of the question, we are just ending the project at around Cook's Corner. And again, at the toll road portion of the question, we're just ending it at 300 feet east of the toll road.
Okay. All right. So we'll continue to work with Caltrans and the Toll Road Authority and OCTA to try to get that unsnarled and continue working with the city to see if we can get a better connection between Live Oak and the end of Aliso Creek. Thank you very much for your taking questions. I hope there are a lot of participants online, and the Orange County Bike Coalition really appreciates, as well as what Vince mentioned. It's really nice to be able to do this at home. Even if it wasn't due to the pandemic, it seems like a very viable way to have public input. I would like to see who other attendees are, so it'd be nice if it was a way to share who all the panelists are, who all the staff are. I only see 4 names on the panelists, and my own name is attendee. But thank you very much. And for Vince's comment, it sounds like it's a right turn pocket that has an extended bike lane to the left. but I don't, for the life of me, know where he was talking about the intersection. So if you guys know which intersection he's talking about, I'd just be curious about the details to kind of take a look at that from a cyclist perspective. Sometimes the extensions next to a right turn pocket are so long on a straightaway, but up a hill, it's even more challenging for people to be in the middle of traffic lanes or what's perceived as traffic lanes when they're trying to climb up a hill and keep a balance. But thank you all very much for the program.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. And we can definitely stay in touch with you one-on-one after this meeting, so we can connect with you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good night, all.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Janet Wilson. You've been unmuted, so you can speak.
Hi, all. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Yeah, I just want to echo the thanks. Really appreciate your time. And I have been at the other meetings. I used to be really involved with the Inter-Canyon League, although I'm not anymore. But anyway, a couple of us had put on the map, you know, right on that big display you had, the concerns about when you're coming from Orange towards Cook's Corner at the Majeska Grade Road. There have been a number of accidents, including a fatality, including a friend of mine whose entire car was totaled because there's no left turn pocket there. Usually you have to know that you can make a left turn there. You mentioned signage. You didn't really get into the details of the signage, so maybe you're already addressing this, but if there could be even a no left turn sign there, you know, because you're coming down this steep hill and then folks do try and make a left turn, including me on occasion, but because there's no left turn pocket, a lot of times cars will, you know, bump right into you, or folks coming out of Majeska Grade Road. There's even a couple of crosses there from fatalities. So just curious if you're handling that with a sign or any other measures. And then I have a couple of other questions.
Oh, that's a great question. I think you brought it up in our last meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
We took a little look at it, and we are implementing a left turn pocket at that Majeska Grade Road.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay, thank you. Also, you mentioned, way back when, there were a couple different phases of this plan. Really like the overall thinking of this so far, but is this just a first phase? Do you have other phases planned that might be more elaborate? You know, Canyon folks really don't like the idea of traffic lights. We also have our SILMOD plan, et cetera, et cetera. So while I'm super grateful for this, what you're doing here, I'm just wondering if this is just the first phase or if you've got other stuff coming up. And then after that, I have one more question.
At the moment, this is the only safety project we have going on, but we are taking a look into future projects if needed. But so far right now, this is the only project we have in our hands.
Okay. So
yeah, and this is Janet, thank you for the question. This was, you know, this is a culmination of, you know, going out in the community for the last few years and the traffic analysis we've done. So this is kind of like the final state at this point. But yeah, if we need to look at something additional in the future as a separate project, I mean, we're open ears for that. But this is what we presented tonight is pretty much what will start next month.
Great. No, that's good to hear. Yeah, no, if you do start up with other stuff again, it would also be nice, it does add to your timelines, but once you're actually doing the designs, especially if you end up doing something more elaborate, if there's a way to look at the plans before they're finalized, that would be great. And then the last thing is the guardrails. I don't know that much about this, but a woman named Linda May, who's over in Silverado, had spent a lot of time with OC Public Works a number of years back, it might even be a decade or so ago, to get rural-style guardrails across Santiago Creek before you come into Silverado Canyon. And so I was wondering if you guys were going to be doing any, quote, rural-style guardrails, or if we're basically talking about the, you know, metal guardrails. It's not a huge area of interest for me, but I know others have been super interested in that in the past, so I thought I'd bring it up.
Janet, thank you for bringing that up. Are you referring to a bridge location?
Yeah, there's a bridge, but then the guardrails on either side of it, and I think they're marked on your project map, actually are currently kind of like this sort of rusted brown look as opposed to that.
Weathered steel.
Right, yeah.
So right now, the guardrails are, we're proposing them to meet the Caltrans standard, and it's been crash tested, and found to be, I guess, sufficient in a crash incident. So we're not looking into any different types than the ones that are standard.
Okay, all right, I'll leave that to others. And then I did have one other question I realized. Are you still contemplating doing anything in Majeska Canyon? Because there was a lot of opposition to what was proposed for Majeska Canyon for the bridge. This is several years back, though.
We have a few different projects planned in Majeska Canyon. There is a drainage and pavement project on Majeska Grade Road, and we are looking into replacing one of the Majeska bridges that's been covered in another one of our outreach meetings.
Okay, if you could just keep the community really, really informed if and whether you're moving forward with the widening of the Majeska Canyon Bridge at the base of the grade road, there was pretty much 99% opposition to that bridge replacement. So it would be great to know more about that if that's the one you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah, we will definitely keep you and the others informed as we move forward with that. Thank you.
Okay, but when you say move forward with it, does that mean that you're moving forward with it, that you're going to widen the bridge and replace it?
There are plans to replace that bridge at the intersection. We're widening it slightly to accommodate a little bit more standard lanes and a shoulder.
Okay, so I think I don't want to take up all the time here. It would be very helpful to have a Majeska-specific update on that, since there was really vociferous opposition.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we will. So there are 4 bridges that we're looking at, and they are in our 7-year look ahead, our capital improvement program, and that's accessible on our Public Works website. But to recap, there are 4 bridges we're looking at. We did some initial outreach for one in Silverado Canyon, just as an example. So one of the next few bridges that we get back to will be that one in Majeska. We'll do the same thing. We'll do a community meeting for just that specific bridge. So you will know more.
Great, because there was also going to be eminent domain of an elderly couple's land, their front yard. So there are a lot of concerns around that one. So that would be great.
Okay, thank you, Jan.
Thank you. Thank you all for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Next, we have Linda May. Okay, you've been unmuted, so you can speak.
Thank you very much. And I'm the person Janet mentioned about the guardrails or for the bridge. And thank you, Janet, for bringing that up. First, I want to thank you for doing this, reaching out to us and having this presentation. Also, it looks to me like you've taken a lot of what the community's concerns were into consideration in doing this planning, and that it looks like the kind of safety measures that you have in mind are as minimally invasive as possible. And I really appreciate that. We who live out here think of that roadway as a scenic parkway, and it is in fact identified as a viewscape corridor. And it has a value in and of itself as it is now as a rural heritage byway. And anything we can do to keep it looking like it does now is going to retain the history of it, the culture of it, the ethics of it, the ambiance of it. I don't know if you all know, but people oftentimes, well, you probably do know this, people drive down that road to take a vacation. They will come out to the canyons for a break from the city. And this is a getaway for people to re-experience nature and trees and rural open space and pasture land and cows. And I think that's a treasure. And I hope that you all also recognize that as a treasure. Obviously, you have adapted a lot of what you were originally planning for that, because at one point you were talking about having passing lanes and all kinds of stuff that would have just turned it into a thoroughfare. So I'm very glad to see that we're not trying to solve the accident problem by increasing speed, because I think that would just make it worse. As far as the railings go, I'm disappointed to hear that you can't do a custom look. We had a wonderful experience working with the Public Works Department in coming up with some various design options for the bridge, and had some community meetings where we discussed it and ended up coming up with a community consensus about how it should look. And both the people from the Public Works Department and the community were surprised at how cool the bridge ended up being. I think the county ended up getting some awards for the design, and we have the pleasure of driving across a bridge that looks like it was here 100 years ago. And it just fits right in with the feel, and it's so consistent with the concept of a viewscape corridor. I want to push back a little on the idea that you have to do a traditional guardrail. Tell me more about that. Tell me what the other options are, because this bridge passed the Caltrans tests. This bridge was okayed by Caltrans. It would not have been able to be put up if it weren't.
Yeah, thank you, Linda, for all those comments. And you're right. At first, just like we do throughout the county, anything we do, a project of this magnitude, we definitely go out to the community. We work with you and your neighbors first before we do anything out there. So I just want to say that. Now, regarding the bridge, and I just want to clarify, we're willing to work to the greatest extent we can in terms of a bridge design. In fact, that's what we're doing with the smaller bridges, whether it's in Silverado or Majeska, when it comes to the bridge railing. So over the bridge structure itself along the sides, the bridge railing, which is not the main safety mechanism, but we're actually in the process now for the smaller bridges. That's when we have a little more leeway, some flexibility in terms of design. But the adjacent guardrails, where first and foremost, the purpose is safety. That's, as Regina on our team here mentioned, that's when we follow Caltrans standards. So two different things, and those serve a slightly different purpose, those guardrails. We don't have as much flexibility. We follow standards for that, just with safety. It's not necessarily an aesthetic thing like the bridge railing. So I just wanted to reiterate that.
Yeah. The concern I have is that you all, are for the most part, urban planners, urban workers. You have a different mentality and a different way of looking at things than we do. An example of that is the original bridge that got put in by Majeska. They had taken into consideration the concerns of the community, and we wanted it to be rustic. And for the longest time, I thought that it was just K-rails that had been put up, and we were waiting for the next bridge. And I finally called Bill Campbell at that point and said, "What's going on?" And it turned out that was the permanent bridge. And their concession to a rural feel was to put some sort of a textured concrete look on the outside of the concrete barriers, which nobody can see when you drive past it. And I think it's ugly. That the improvement they made was by painting the few rails that are on the top, painting them a kind of a rusty red color that would be more consistent with that old look. But please tell me you're not going to use K-rails Because let's just call it a construction zone and have it be done with.
No, it's not going to be the K-rail barriers that you're referring to. I just want to clarify that now.
Do you have an idea what it's going to look like?
Well, at the bridge, we haven't looked at that, but the rest of the guardrails are going to be metal.
And are you referring to Majeska? I just want to make sure we're still on topic here. Like, or are you talking about Santiago Canyon Road?
Santiago Canyon Road,
Okay.
There's a bridge that crosses Santiago near Majeska. That was done first. And it was as a result of that I contacted Bill Campbell and said, please tell me this isn't the final product. And then he graciously got Public Works involved and gave them very clear direction to work with us on coming up with a design that really is compatible. And they did. And it was really actually a fun process. And anybody in the community who wanted to be involved was involved. And it was just really terrific. The other thing that was really good about it was people constantly were saying, there's no way in hell you're going to get everybody in the canyon to agree on anything. And it turned out that we were in unanimous agreement about that design. So I love saying yes, we can. we will, if we work together, we can come to an agreement. So I think a guardrail. I'm picturing that indented guardrail stuff that you see along freeway overpasses and that kind of stuff. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the guardrails that we're replacing will be that type. But we have no bridge work as part of this project.
And so all the places on your plans that have guardrails, it's going to look like that?
Yes, it's currently the state standard.
Yeah. And the guardrail is how, yeah, it's like 6-10 inches tall. I mean, the metal itself is, I can't remember, it's not that big, right?
Yeah, it's not that big, and it's usually on wood posts at every 6 foot or 10 foot on center. Yeah,
so Linda, if you were to drive through Live Oak Canyon Road, the project that we completed a year or two ago, you would see what those guardrails would look like. It's basically going to mirror those. Yeah, that's good. The fact that they're on wood makes it look a little more rural and historic, and not. Thank God they're not going to be metal posts or something, or K-rails. Yeah, that's much more reassuring. I'm glad to know, especially the idea that it's metal posts, wooden posts, because that looks a lot like a rural look. Thank you. Thanks, Linda.
Thank you. I don't know, the first caller, Joanne, you still have your hand up. I wasn't sure if you have any more comments. I'm going to unmute you just in case you have other follow-up questions.
I do have a question, and following up on something that Linda was saying, and also something you all said. You have other phases you're going to go through. It's my understanding that you're still trying to plan on putting passing lanes in. You want to clarify that?
Yeah, thanks, Joanne. What's referred to, lack of a better word, the passing lanes are basically the corridor improvement project, which would be segments of passing lanes. That is something we're still looking at. It is identified on our 7-year look ahead, our capital improvement program. So if that does come to fruition, we're looking at 2022, 2023. So it is on our look ahead, but that's something that we're still looking through, and that is something we'll definitely need to go back into the community to talk with you guys more about.
Yeah, well, here's a thought for you. The road itself is not dangerous. It's only as dangerous as the people that drive it. There's nothing wrong with that road. It does not need passing lanes. People just need to slow down a bit. Sure. Honestly, I've been out here 40 years now, and the road's been the same. So the only difference is now that Cooks has a hard liquor license. That's the biggest difference. And the increase in traffic. So.
Okay.
That's just my opinion. It does not need passing lanes, and I would bet that most of the residents would feel the same way.
Okay. Point noted.
Thank you.
We'll make sure we record that. Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you.
Okay. Janet, Janet Wilson, your hand is still up, but I'm not sure if it was just kept up. So, you're unmuted. You can speak.
Hi, thank you. I'm not sure I expressed adequate thanks for all that you guys are doing. I am really happy to hear about that little pocket turnout at the bottom of Majeska Grade Road. So really appreciate that. That said, I didn't have my hand up the whole time. I have to second what my friend and neighbor Joanne said. There is no desire in the canyons that I have heard for passing lanes. There is no desire to speed up traffic. There is no desire to widen the Majeska Canyon Bridge. So I know we're not the only ones in the equation here, but just wanted to make sure you knew that that is the general sentiment that I heard during my entire 7 years or whatever it was with the Inter-Canyon League. So if that's important to note, just wanted to make sure not to take it personally. It's not against you guys. It's just, you know, the very widespread sentiment out here. And thank you again. Really, really appreciate your work. Thanks.
Thank you, Janet. You know, when it comes to the safety in a roadway, the work that we're doing and planning for the future, yeah, we try to look at all options, any option on the table. And this is why we're out here tonight, and that's why we'll continue to be out in the future if there's any future work like what you guys are referring to as the passing lanes effort. This is not the last time we'll talk with you. So point noted from you and Joanne. Thank you for that feedback, and we know you made your position well known. And we will definitely continue to go back out there. We definitely want to continue that conversation. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Dennis Lambert. Okay, you've been unmuted, so you can speak.
All right, thank you. My question is about fire season. Fire season is upon us. Is there a contract in the American Civil Constructors contract, or a clause in the contract with American Civil Constructors to require them to open both lanes should there be a fire event that impacts either all the canyons or Santiago Canyon Road? I mean, I'm sure they'll do that, but is there a specific clause in the contract that requires them to do that?
They are required to open all lanes when something becomes an emergency situation, whether it be a fire truck, any type of emergency vehicles that need to get through, or if it becomes an evacuation route, it's automatically deemed open. Things would be cleared off the road and opened immediately. There's none. It would just be opened up. There's not even much to discuss on that one. It opens up.
Well, I know that. Common sense would say, of course. The thing I've experienced, though, is you've got a construction foreman out there that says, no, I just laid, a mile of fresh asphalt, and it's going to be ruined if I have to open it up, so I'm not gonna.
No,
if it's required by contract, then that's what I wanted to know.
Okay, I did get clarification. Yes, it is. It is in their contract.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to know that. The other quick question is, I guess it's third the opinion that we don't need passing lanes on Santiago. We need people to drive 55 and everything would be fine. So enforcement is the issue here.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next we have Scott Breeden.
Hello.
Hi.
I want to thank you for doing this meeting also. I'm sorry I got in late, so I didn't hear the first few minutes. In some previous meetings, along with the guardrail improvements and things like that, one of the ideas I remember being mentioned was some flashing beacons of some sort. Is that part of this project or not?
In the previous meeting, it was brought to our attention that that wasn't in the best interest of the community, so we did take away the flashing beacons from this project.
Well, thank you. See, the system works.
Thank you. I guess next we have Linda May again. Okay, you've been unmuted.
Thank you again. And I just wanted to say that, reiterate that enforcement, how important enforcement is. I've lived out here for over 20 years, and I saw CHP sitting there like they were doing radar for the first time just a few months ago. We sometimes see a sheriff out here watching the traffic, and I don't know, I don't usually drive down the road in the middle of the night, but most of the accidents happen between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. And so it seems to me if the people leaving Cook's Corner knew that there was a very good chance that they would get a ticket if they're driving over 55, or that they would get stopped and checked for their alcohol level, that we might have a whole lot less accidents. So, and again, I want to thank you for listening to us. Not, taking out those flashing lights is wonderful. So, thank you.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Okay, Joanne, you're unmuted.
Yes, I did have a question. Do you want to clarify how you are thinking, or why you were thinking about putting a left turn pocket when you're headed towards Cook's, turning left onto Majeska Grade Road? You got the Santiago Equine Center directly across from there, which comes to the pocket. And quite frankly, I got to disagree with Janet. I don't see the need for it. I've never seen anybody turn left there. 40 years.
It was a suggestion made by the last community meeting, so we can take a look at it again. But it's right now.
I would rather see it no left-hand turn. No left turn. It would be much better, much safer, especially because you get the equestrian center right across from.
Yeah, we'll look into that, Joanne. Thanks.
Again.
Okay. Janet Wilson, you've been unmuted. You can speak again.
Oh, I didn't realize I still had my hand up. Apologies.
Okay.
But in any case, yeah, whatever you guys think is the safest way to handle that turn. I know people personally who have had their cars totaled trying to make a left turn off of the grade road, off of Santiago Canyon Road onto the grade road. I'd be glad to have them talk to you if you want. I also know a young man, a son of longtime Canyon residents, who unfortunately hit a bicyclist, and the bicyclist died. It was not his fault, but there have been very, very serious accidents there. I am not a traffic engineer, though, so whatever is the safest way to handle that situation is great. If it's not a left-hand turn, that's fine. If it's just a sign that says no left turn, if that would save us all money and keep people safe, that would be fine by me. If the left-hand turn lane is the safest way to do it, according to the traffic engineers, then I'm all for that too. I'm not wedded to one solution, just wanted to point out the very real fatalities and other accidents that have happened there. Thanks.
Thank you, Janet.
Okay. Scott Breeden again. You've been unmuted.
Oh, I didn't know I had my hand up. Sorry. Never mind.
Okay.
Okay, that appears to be all the questions we have, and no one else has their hand up. We hope you found this meeting very beneficial. Again, thank you for taking time to join us tonight. We know it's a challenging time. We typically do these meetings in person. We like going out into the community, meeting with you, talking with you directly, but we obviously, because of COVID-19, we have limitations to that. We want to keep not only our staff safe, but everyone out in the community safe. We want to do our part, which is why we're doing this virtual community meeting tonight. So we know you're all busy, you have families you want to attend to and jobs. So we do thank you for taking the time, much appreciated. And again, I'll put up the contact information one last time. There's our phone number, our email, and the website. Again, tonight's meeting is being recorded. We'll make this available on our project website tomorrow for those friends, families, neighbors who couldn't join us tonight. So we'll make sure we continue the conversation and to circle back. Again, this project, we're looking to start activities out in the community to start these improvements next month. So we will provide more information through notifications probably in a few weeks as we get ready to start getting some crews or equipment out towards there. We will provide advanced notification for that as well. So please keep your eyes and ears open. We'll be posting information online and with some additional mail as well to share that information. So you will be hearing from us again in the coming weeks as we look to get started. So again, thank you very, very much. We appreciate it. You guys have a safe and good night. Thank you.